Namaste and welcome. This is a short 10-minute practice and it's designed for people who want to have a healthy spine and don't necessarily have a really big back bend. So backbending comes in all different forms, and we often think of a backbend as the really big wheel, Dharanasana, and it's all very glorious, but not everyone can get there. And sometimes it's shoulder mobility, and other times it's just, posture, can be a lifetime of hunching forward, can be all sorts of things, injury, and just old age. So we're going to do just some backbending that is on the low down, but still gives you all of that mobility and starts achieving a bit more mobility in the spine and giving it that chance to move around. And I'll just talk a few things through as we go, and that will be like what muscles to really concentrate on incorporating to create safe backbending. Because a lot of backbends we see in Instagram, if you have a look at the actual curve, they're not very even. And so what you're always trying to do is bring an even curve, not just like a 90-degree angle at the lumbar junction, but just a sweet curve all the way through. And the curve continues right up to the very tip of the spine. So to begin, let's start on our belly. I'm going to come into our first back bend, which is Cobra, or this is Sphinx. We'll work our way to Cobra. So this one's quite passive. The legs are quite passive here. This can be either fired up, by igniting the body, or soft. And I like to approach this softly so that you learn to switch off your glutes. Often we have a lot of people that turn their heels in here and their glutes fire up, like mine have just fired up. And what we're going to try and teach ourselves is to internally rotate the thighs up to the sky and let the heels still stay in line, but the little toes try to press down. And once we've got that, you notice that your glutes quite soft. And this is really important because when you clench your glutes, you put the sacrum into a little bit of an extension straight away. And so you're already starting with a bit of a kink in your spine, and we want to even that out. So let's fire this up. I'm going to press into my feet. I'm trying not to fire up my quads. So that little toes rolling down towards the floor. My legs are super ignited. And now I'm going to press into my hands and try and pull my sternum forward. So what I'm effectively doing here is adding traction and length into my spine. At the same time, I'm firing up all of the muscles. So let's do this for 3, for 2, and let's soften. We're going to do that again. And this time I want you to think about this little area of the spine that creates the neck, the cervical spine. So a lot of times we'll be tempted to look down here or toss our head back too much. And what I want you to feel like is you're pulling the sternum forward, legs are firing up, but at the same time, you're trying to lift length right through and create a beautiful arc in the spine. Press the pubic bone down into the floor and let's soften, come down there. Bend the knees and just windscreen wiper the legs side to side. It's a nice way to release. Then lengthen the legs. So Cobra, same action in the legs. Only this time we're zipping the legs up together. You can bring the hands to your lower ribs here and really draw the elbows back. And you can see here I'm already in a bit of an upper body extension. So I'm going to increase that. I'm going to press into my feet. My little toes are pressing down. Pubic bone presses. And all I'm going to do is lift as high as I can, not using my hands so much, but just firing up my back muscles. Take a breath and lower down. One thing to watch here is as you come up, try not to let your feet fly up because that just puts a lot of strain on your lower back and it means your core is not going to be activated. So let's do that again. Coming up, press, Squeeze the inner seam of the legs together. And this time you could use your hands to, you're pulling back with the hands and you're pulling the heart forward. You can lift up a little higher and then come down. We're going to do one more, this time with the hands simply hovering. Press into the feet. Pubic bone presses down. Elbows lift. And we lower. Bend the knees. Again, take feet side to side. And this is what you'd repeat again and again if that's enough of a back bend for you and if it's triggering anything in your lower back, you'd probably just give it a rest now. If you want to go into an upward facing dog, we're going to try to just sort of break that down because this is something we repeat a lot in a class, and it's these repetitive back bends that can do the damage, not those big ones so much, because we tend not to do those often. So it's these ones that we repeat again and again in our practice. If we don't get that quality in that shape, we can actually start just doing a little bit of damage to our spine, which is not ideal. So hands are placed right back at your lower ribs. You're trying to create a right angle of your elbow and your forearm and your upper arm. This time the feet are a good hip width apart. Same action. You don't want to turn on those glutes. You want to keep the legs strong, but the glutes passive. Elbows squeeze back, belly on. So really turn that, all of your abs on if you can. Try and cinch the waist in. We're going to take a breath and lengthen the arms. So I've come up into a back bend, and this is quite strong. So I'm pressing into my feet. My legs are actually off the ground. And now I'm going to try and create a long line in my spine, like a long curve. Arm bones pull back, chest pulls forward, lift through the crown, press into the feet. And then we're going to go into downward facing dog. Soften the knees for this one because I want you to really get into that wiggly action. We're trying to get curves going in the spine. So cinch your belly right back to your thighs. And this is an opportunity for you to stretch your shoulders. So rather than straightening and pulling the shoulders forward, I'm wanting to really press back and allow the shoulders to have a big stretch. Take a smooth inhale. Steady exhale. Bend these, look forward. Step to the front. Half lift. And fold. Soft knees for this one where we're looking after the spine. Come up to stand, reach tall. And hands to heart. How to stand and back bend. I'm going to spin sideways so you see me here. Take the feet hip width apart. Reach up, and we're going to interlace thumbs and fan the fingers forward. So I can bring my arms right up beside my ears then. And watch that you're not jutting your head forward. You don't want to be like forcing this. So nice long spine. And you see I have quite a lordotic curve in my spine. I've got to pull my pubic bone up and try and lengthen my tailbone. Keep strong legs and keep lifting up through the thumbs. And this has alleviated any compression in my lower back. So now I can safely start to lift my elbows back and start to get an upper body extension. It's quite intense. Keep lengthening tailbone. Maybe go back a little more. One more breath. And come back, hands to heart. Roll the shoulders. Reaching tall. And you can take the option of a little back bend there. Forward fold, exhale. Half lift, inhale. High to low plank. Drop knees for this first one. And let's go into a baby cobra. Now we know what we're doing. You can choose to come up a little if you like. And downward facing dog.
And here's a fun little flow that if you're in the mood for a bit of a back bend, will just get you going. And you can do this 3 times. Right leg lifts to the sky, point the toe, bend the standing leg, look forward, bring your shoulders over the wrist and try and tap the toe to the back of the head. Keep lifting and then sweep back, bring the foot through, coming into Anjaneyasana or crescent lunge. Same hands, those little butterflies. Thumbs are, have been caught. And we're going to lift into a really nice arc through the spine. Now just be careful that you're not just dumping forward and you're trying to lift the heart up, elbows right back next to the ears. Open out, warrior two. Take a breath. Come through a flow. Your choice to come into up dog if you like, knowing that you're building that strength. Front of the body is really strong. And downward facing dog. Take a breath in and a breath out. Left leg lifts. Bend the knee, point it to the sky, bend the standing leg. So we've got a bit of space. Look forward, bring the shoulders over the wrist. Try and tap the back of the head. And then sweep back, bringing the foot through. Interlace the other thumb. And we're going to go into that nice expression of openness. And warrior two. One breath. Come through your flow. Choice of back bend. Upward facing. And downward facing. And just let yourself breathe there for a moment. Come down onto your knees. And you can choose to do that a few times over. And that would really just get you in the groove for your back bending. And I hope